We are continuing our conversation now with former Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. She is now working with the Biden campaign on the issue of education. And Mayor, Black parents especially need their kids to be in school for a variety of reasons. One, trying to close the education gap, but in a lot of instances, mom and dad need to work. We are two-income families as Black Americans. And if the kids are at home, not only are they driving us crazy, but also they are robbing us of at least half of the income. But how do we convince Black families that now may not be the time?
You know, you say we're two income families. It's two income, but often 3 and 4 jobs, which makes it particularly challenging for African American families. I trust the African American families, even those that need to work, understand and care about the science. They understand and care about being safe. It's our job to meet in government. It's our job to meet them, or the government's job to meet them where they are. And that's why it is so critical that we have leadership from the top down that's focusing on dealing with this virus head on, trying to end it as soon as possible so we can get the economy going. There's no way to get the economy going by simply ignoring the coronavirus. And Black parents, just like every other group of parents, want their kids to be safe and want to provide that environment. We just have to have some cooperation, and not just from one party. We need the entire country, and that takes real leadership at the top.
Does the Biden understand that we're not only talking about teachers, we're not only talking about students, but in the Black community, we're talking about grandma? My children were raised in part by a woman named Jessie Savage down there in Baltimore, where you are, God rest her soul. But I can't imagine sending them back to school if they were going to return home with a virus that would affect her health. So many Black children are raised by grandma, which is one of the reasons why in the NFL, when they get drafted, I want to thank my mother, I want to thank my grandmother. This is a fact of life in the Black community. So how do we protect grandma too?
The only way to protect grandma is to protect our entire community. The only way that we will ensure that our vulnerable seniors are protected is to get a hold of this virus. There's no other way to do it. We don't have another way. Our infrastructure in the Black community includes vulnerable adults. So in order to protect our infrastructure, we have to protect our entire community. So that means, again, being smart, being honest, following the science, and really having a leader who is compassionate and understands the fact that you can't just put your head in the sand and think that this is going to go away. The president literally yesterday was talking about the fact that this is just going to go away. It is insane that we have a president who refuses to take responsibility, refuses to be accountable to the people that he serves.
Mayor, you work in a city, working class town for many, many years. They speak the common day language of the everyday man. How do you convince them that Joe Biden is the real deal, that he gets it? I know him, and I know what he's like deep down. I've known him for years. But how do you convince people of Baltimore, for instance, and other working class towns that he's not just a talking head, that he actually is somebody that walks the walk?
And that's what frustrates me also about this virus, is because I wouldn't have to convince them if they would meet him. Anyone who meets Joe Biden can feel it from person to person that he's the real deal. He leads with his heart and his head, and with a compassion that is unmatched. I think when I think about other elected officials. So that's what frustrates me about the fact that he hasn't been able to do a lot of in-person campaigning. But I saw someone that I follow on social media talk about voting over the weekend. They say it's like public transportation. If you have to get to work and a bus comes and it doesn't go exactly where you want it to go, I think everybody would think you were crazy if you didn't get on that bus to get you closer to work. So you just don't wait around till the perfect bus, till that perfect bus comes. You get on and get closer to where you're going. So that's what I'm saying. You may, and I don't want to encourage anyone not to follow their convictions, in the sense that if if you're ultra progressive and Joe Biden isn't progressive enough, I am not telling you to change your mind. What I'm telling you is he is going to get you closer to your ideals, closer to the things that you value than President Trump. So let's get on this bus. Let's get closer and let's work together as a united community, instead of really giving over our country to someone who deals in chaos.
The last question before I let you go, former Congressman, or the late Congressman John Lewis, was so humble when you met him. He said, "Just call me John." He always seemed to be larger than life, but he always reminded you that he wasn't. Joe Biden is one of those people that when you meet him, and after you've known him for a long time, it's just call me Joe. Do you think if he becomes president, he'll want to be called President Biden, or you think he'll just still want to be called Joe?
I know for a fact that it doesn't matter what he wants to be called, people are still going to call him Joe. Like if you've been around Vice President Biden, it's almost you want to call him Uncle Joe, because he always has a kind word. He always has a great story, and he always has a compassionate heart. And I yearn for the day when we can call him President Biden, President Joe, when there is truly, truly hope for a country that is moving closer to the ideals that I believe are in the hearts of American people across the country.
Mayor, thanks for being with us this morning.
My pleasure. Great to see you again.